As the festival of light approaches, homes fill with laughter, rituals, and reflection. Yet, this season of celebration often brings its own burden, the crushing weight of being everywhere at once. Festival deadlines at work, family expectations at home, the phone that never stops buzzing, the guilt of wanting just one moment of silence. Welcome to another episode of Letter to Krishna. This Diwali special explores one desperate cry from the heart, a letter about work life integration trauma, the silent epidemic affecting 21% of Gen Z in India. It asks the question many of us whisper in the dark: how do I honor everyone without losing myself completely? Dear Krishna, I don't even know where to begin. I am writing this at 11:47 pm because sleeps feel impossible and silence feels like a luxury I can't afford anymore. I am drowning in the always on reality of modern life. And this festival season has pushed me to my absolute breaking point. Working remotely while taking upskilling courses means my phone is literally the bridge to my entire existence. Work, learning, family, everything. There is zero separation. I am suffocating. Krishna, do you know what this festival season looks like for me? It is my boss sending urgent meeting links at 7 pm because everything needs to be done before the holiday. It's my mother in the next room, her hurt voice asking why I can't join in the family chores when I'm right here at home. It's relatives flooding the family WhatsApp with forwards while I am buried under deadlines and work pressure. Physically present but mentally absent. If I delay replying to work emails after 7 pm, my mind races with panic about job security. If I don't answer my family immediately, I am drowned in guilt about my respect and availability. Everyone needs me, everyone expects me, and I have nothing left. The work life imbalance isn't just inconvenience, it is a mental health crisis destroying me from inside. I am constantly drained, suffocating, under chronic burnout, and I desperately need personal boundaries and digital boundaries. But how do I set them without being branded selfish in a culture where continuous availability is the unwritten rule? I am so tired, Krishna. Please help me find peace. Your devotee, drowning in multiple chaos. Dear friend, I hear you. I know what it feels like when your phone buzzes and your chest tightens before you even look. You are describing what we call work life integration trauma, the erosion of mental wellness caused by the absence of boundaries. You're not tired, you are tired of never leaving it. Trust me, I understand. I've been there in that place myself at some point of time. Let me tell you something true. Your exhaustion is not a character flaw, it is a spiritual signal. This isn't about time management, this is about the survival of your spirit. You feel guilty for wanting rest, but listen closely. Krishna himself rested. When the Pandavas were lost and broken, Krishna didn't tell them to work harder. He stopped the entire war, sat with Arjun, and spoke until Arjun remembered who he was. The Bhagavad Gita wasn't given during action, it was given during the holy pause before action. Even the divine knows wisdom requires stillness. Let me tell you a story. There were two monks who were walking towards their monastery. At a swollen river, a woman stood helpless. The elder monk lifted her, carried her across, set her down, and continued walking in silence. Hours later, the younger monk burst out. How could you touch her? You broke your vow. The elder monk smiled gently. Brother, I set her at the river hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? Do you see? You are carrying every unread message, every unfinished task, every unmet expectation long after the moment has passed. That is why the world feels heavier than it is. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6.5, let a person lift themselves by their own mind, for the mind can be the friend and also the enemy of the self. Your phone isn't your enemy. Your family isn't your enemy. Your untrained mind is the one that refuses to set things down, that needs your compassion now. Let me give you the rest practice. not as a technique, but as a devotional offering to your own divine nature. The step 1 in the rest practice is ritualize sacred disconnection. When your workday ends, it must end completely. Create a shutdown ritual. Close your laptop with integration, wash your face, change your clothes as if shedding armor, light a small diya in front of Krishna. Neurologist Dr. Andrew Huberman's research confirmed what ancient rishis knew. Sensory transitions signal the nervous system to shift states. These aren't just actions, they are prayers that tell your body work has ended, peace begins now. Your work will be there tomorrow, but you must exist beyond your work. Make coming home to yourself a sacred daily ritual. Step 2. Embrace mindful micro pauses. You don't need an hour of meditation. You need 5 conscious breaths before meetings. 30 seconds of sunlight on your face. Touch the earth. Remember, you have a body that breathes. Krishna says in Gita chapter 6.26, whenever the restless mind wanders, let it be withdrawn and brought back to rest in the self. Each pause isn't wasting time, it's remembering time. Set hourly reminders. Just breathe, just be. These micro moments are like pressing reset on your soul. And trust me, these works, I have been doing it for quite some time and I have seen an incredible change in myself. I'll also attach few of the items that I use which helps me in resting my mind. Step 3. Separate your sacred spaces. You need one corner where nobody can reach you. Create a digital sanctuary, a physical space with 0 devices, a cushion, a candle, your journal. When you enter the space, you are untouchable. Not because you're rude, but because you are remembering the divine. Communicate this boundary with love. Between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m., I am in silent self-care. I will respond in the morning with full presence. Real love doesn't demand 24/7 access. Real love respects the temple of another's peace. Digital boundaries aren't walls. They are the moats that protect your inner sanctuary. Step 4. Trust the divine rhythm absolutely. This is the hardest step. Trust Krishna completely. You believe the world will collapse if you don't reply immediately. But my dear friend, Krishna is holding the universe together. He doesn't need your anxiety to keep it running. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 18.66, Krishna gives his most sacred promise. Surrender unto me alone. I shall deliver you from all reactions. Do not fear. This isn't just spiritual. It's about daily liberation from constant availability. When you rest, you're praying, Krishna, I am yours. I trust you to hold my responsibilities while I rest in your arms. The email will wait because Krishna is patient. The family will understand because Krishna softens hearts. Your peace, rooted in devotion, will teach them that boundaries are not rejections. They are a return to the divine. This Diwali, I invite you to a radical act of devotion. Light a diya for yourself, not for your achievements, not for your availability, for the sacred soul beneath all the doom, the one who is already complete, already enough, already deeply loved by the divine Krishna. Rest isn't rebellion, rest is remembering. Boundaries aren't rejection, boundaries are reverence. Saying no to burnout is saying yes to Krishna. You are not failing anyone by choosing survival. You are honoring the divine gift of your existence. Your pace is not selfish. It is the foundation from which all genuine service flows. So breathe, my dear friend. Set things down. Trust the divine Krishna. The festival of lights begins not in the world, but in the quiet moment when you finally stop running and let yourself be held by Krishna. As diyas fill the darkness, they may remind us even lights need darkness to shine. Personal boundaries aren't barriers, they are the sacred pauses between breaths. They teach us where love ends and peace begins. If this letter spoke to your weary heart, share it with someone who is carrying too much, someone who needs permission to set things down, and write to Krishna. Writing helps our soul in many different ways. If you want, you can share your letter to Krishna at modernaimystic@gmail.com. Every Saturday, we read your letters with the same devotion that you have put into writing it. This Diwali, may your home glow with understanding, may your mind rest and surrender, and may you finally give yourself the gift you have given everyone else, permission to be human. Hare Krishna, Happy Diwali, and take care.